Pay attention. Marcus, 80 years old, active, healthy, happy. He goes to a private clinic for an elite checkup. Full body CT scan. They spot a 3 mm dot. The result? 2 months in the hospital, collapsed lung, and he never fully recovered. My friends, if you're over 70, this video could save your life. Every year, millions of seniors rush to get health screenings, thinking they're staying safe. But what if I told you some of those routine tests could actually push you closer to surgery, stroke, or even cancer? New research is shocking. 37% of medical tests done on people over 70 lead to unnecessary treatments, complications, lifelong side effects. And here's what's even more surprising. 99% of people over 70 have no idea they're being over-tested. The screening will reveal as number 1, causes 5% of all cancer cases in the US. That's equal to the cancer rate caused by drinking alcohol every single day. You won't hear this from your clinic. You won't see it on a billboard. But the truth is buried in the science. Today, I'm revealing the 5 health screenings you should avoid after 70. And number 2 will shock you. Before we begin, tell us in the comments, how old are you? Where are you watching from? Have you ever regretted an unnecessary test? We read every comment, and we reply with personalized tips. Now, let's get to the first test. Think of your body like a garden. If you dig up the soil every single day, you disturb the roots, the plants can't grow. Sometimes the best care is to leave it alone. Number 5, bone density scan, the DEXA scan. Sounds harmless. Quick scan, no pain, no needles. You walk out knowing if your bones are at risk for fractures. But here's what nobody tells you. After 70, this scan often creates more fear than benefit because bone loss is a natural part of aging, just like wrinkles, just like gray hair. It happens to everyone. But still, many seniors get pushed into taking drugs called bisphosphonates. These drugs are supposed to strengthen bones, but they come with serious side effects, like jawbone death and irritation of the esophagus. Here's the problem. A study published in the American Geriatric Society journal followed 1,200 women over 70. The result? Bisphosphonates reduced fracture risk by only 0.3% after 5 years. 0.3%, that's barely anything, and it's far from life-saving. Instead, these women were far more likely to suffer from drug side effects, digestive problems, inflammation in the esophagus, brittle bones that break in strange ways. Let me tell you about Rose, 76 years old, retired piano teacher. After her annual checkup, she was referred for a DEXA scan. She'd never had a fall, no pain, walked every day. Her scan showed osteopenia, mild bone density reduction, not even osteoporosis. Her doctor immediately started her on alendronate, a bisphosphonate. These drugs are designed to slow bone loss. They affect bone cells. They stop the cells that eat away bone, called osteoclasts. Sounds good, right? But here's the problem. These drugs freeze the bone. They don't break down old bone. They don't build new bone. The old bone just sits there, brittle, like paper. And the side effects are serious. Rose took this drug for 3 months, and then severe reflux started. She struggled to eat. Jaw pain developed. She could barely open her mouth in the mornings. By the time she came to see us, she hadn't played piano in weeks. She couldn't lift her hands because of the pain. We stopped the medication, started her on vitamin D, weight-bearing exercises, like resistance bands, a calcium-rich diet with sardines and leafy greens. 1 year later, stronger legs, better balance, 0 fractures. She was back on stage performing. You see, a quick scan might seem like a smart move, but for people over 70 who aren't falling or breaking bones, the better option is lifestyle, strength training, balance exercises, proper nutrition, vitamin D. According to a 2022 Osteoporosis International study, these reduce fractures by over 20%. Don't let a number on a screen scare you into treatment you don't need. But here's what's even more shocking. The next scan can lead to brain surgery. Yes, you heard that right. Brain surgery. Let's talk about that next. Think of your brain like an old map. It has creases, it has spots, but it still works perfectly. If you treat every spot like a disease, you'll want to throw the map away, when all you really need is to know how to read it. Number 4, brain MRI for memory loss. When seniors feel more forgetful, the natural response is fear. Fear of dementia, fear of Alzheimer's. So doctors often respond by ordering a brain MRI. But here's the uncomfortable truth. MRIs rarely give patients the answers they're hoping for. In fact, for most people over 70, the MRI shows age-related changes, slight shrinkage, white matter spots, completely normal in older adults. But here's the real issue. Once those spots are seen, a wave of fear gets triggered. More tests, even surgery that doesn't improve memory and can actually make things worse. In 2021, a study published in Neurology Today reviewed over 3,000 MRI scans in patients aged 70 to 85 with mild memory complaints. The result? 86% showed some form of brain abnormality, but only 3% of those findings were linked to an actual treatable condition. What does that mean? 97% of people went through the emotional toll of hearing something's wrong, when really there wasn't. Even worse, nearly 12% were sent for invasive procedures, like spinal taps, or even exploratory biopsies, based on vague scan results. Let me tell you about George, 74 years old, retired engineer. He came in worried about forgetfulness. He was sharp, but he was losing his keys more often, sometimes forgetting names. His doctor sent him for an MRI, which showed white matter changes. George panicked, convinced he had dementia. He stopped driving, stopped going to church. Over the next few months, his anxiety got worse. But when we reassessed him, using a standard cognitive test, his score was in the normal range. We explained that those MRI findings were age-appropriate. We helped him focus on lifestyle changes, like sleep, hydration, and brain games. Within 3 months, his memory stabilized. He felt like himself again, started driving again, went back to church. The truth is, unless there are severe neurological symptoms, like seizures, sudden personality change, or rapid functional decline, an MRI is rarely helpful for mild memory loss. A better first step? A cognitive screening test. A simple paper-based exam. It evaluates memory, attention, problem solving. Cheap, effective, and it avoids the risk of unnecessary panic. Now brace yourself, because the next test on this list is one you've probably had multiple times. And number 3 is on this list for a reason. Think of your heart like a car engine. If it slows down a bit going uphill, you don't rip out the engine every time. Maybe it just needs better fuel. Maybe it just needs rest. But the system recommends replacing the engine because that's more profitable. Number 3, cardiac stress test. One of the most common tests given to seniors complaining of mild fatigue, chest tightness, or just not feeling like they used to. It's a procedure that monitors your heart while you walk on a treadmill, or get medication that simulates exercise, designed to spot blocked arteries. But after 70, this test often does more harm than good, especially when used on people who don't have clear signs of heart disease, because it can lead to false alarms, unnecessary heart procedures, carrying serious risks. The problem is accuracy. In adults over 70, the false positive rate for stress tests can be as high as 40%. What does that mean? The test says there's a problem when there isn't. This leads to follow-up tests, like angiograms, even unnecessary stent placements. Bypass surgery. In 2017, a major study in JAMA cardiology found more than half of all stents placed after stress test referrals were done in patients who had no real symptoms or benefit, and those patients had no improvement in survival or quality of life after the procedure. But what they did have: bleeding, kidney damage from contrast dyes, long hospital stays. Remember Raymond? 75-year-old retired mail carrier, stayed active by walking every day. During a checkup, he mentioned he sometimes felt tired on hills. His doctor scheduled a stress test, just to be sure. The results were unclear. He was sent for a catheterization. A mild narrowing was found. A stent was placed. But that night, Raymond had a reaction to the contrast dye. Kidney problems developed. 6 days in the hospital, weeks of follow-up care, and the fatigue never changed because it wasn't a heart problem to begin with. He was simply an older man who needed better hydration and more rest between meals. If you're over 70 and you're not experiencing classic cardiac symptoms, no chest pain during activity, no shortness of breath on exertion, no significant drop in energy during light exercise, then a stress test may do more harm than good. A better option? A resting EKG or a coronary calcium scan, a low-radiation imaging test that shows whether dangerous plaque is building up. These are safer, simpler, and far less likely to push you into a procedure you didn't need. You haven't seen the biggest surprise yet, because number 2, you probably weren't expecting. But after 75, it's almost never recommended. Think of your body like a house. If you tear down the entire house every year and rebuild it, eventually the foundation cracks. The walls weaken. Sometimes the best maintenance is to avoid unnecessary intervention and only fix what truly needs attention. Now get ready, because the next test on this list, your doctor probably recommended it routinely, and most people accept it without question. But the truth that will shock you. Number 2, colonoscopy. You probably weren't expecting this one, but colonoscopy, a procedure that uses a long camera to examine your colon, isn't always a wise choice after 70. And after 75, unless there are specific symptoms, it's almost never recommended. But here's the problem. Most doctors still recommend it routinely. The risks go up with age. The prep is harsh, strong laxatives that can cause dehydration, dizziness, even kidney problems. The sedation used during the procedure poses added risks to brain function in older adults. And perhaps most surprisingly, the test itself can cause complications like bleeding, tearing, and even heart rhythm disturbances during sedation. In 2019, a large study in JAMA Internal Medicine followed over 1.3 million Medicare patients, age 70 and older. The result was shocking. For every 1,000 colonoscopies done in patients over 75, only 2 lives were saved. 2, but over 20 people experienced serious complications. That's a 10-to-1 risk-to-benefit ratio. And even when polyps are found, most are small and slow-growing. Removing them in an older adult can sometimes do more harm than leaving them alone. Let me tell you about Dana, 73-year-old grandmother. She ran a small bakery with her daughter, full of energy, no symptoms whatsoever, no bleeding, no changes in stool, no family history of colon cancer. But her new primary care doctor, fresh out of residency, urged Dana to get a screening colonoscopy. "It's a routine procedure," he said. "Everyone gets one," he said. Dana agreed. During the procedure, a small polyp was removed. She was sent home. That night, intense abdominal pain started. She fainted. At the hospital, they found a bowel perforation. A hole had opened in her intestine. Emergency surgery. She spent 9 days recovering, lost 10 pounds, and since then, she hasn't been the same. Couldn't go back to the bakery. Energy level dropped. Constant abdominal pain. When we reviewed her case, we found she'd already had 2 clean colonoscopies in the past, both clean. There was no reason to repeat it. There are safer alternatives. The FIT test, a non-invasive stool test, done at home. No prep, no sedation, no risk of complications, and it still catches most concerning cases. Ask your doctor about alternatives, because once you're in the colonoscopy pipeline, it's hard to get out. And now, the most dangerous test, the most overused, the most harmful for seniors. And you've almost certainly had it done, or it'll be offered to you soon. Number 1, annual full-body CT scan, sometimes offered as part of executive health packages at private clinics, marketed as preventive health care. Let's catch cancer early, they say. Let's check everything, they say. Sounds great, right? But here's the shocking truth. These scans expose your body to high doses of ionizing radiation, especially for older adults over 70. The risk of triggering unnecessary follow-ups, biopsies, and even surgeries is incredibly high. And here's the irony. There's zero evidence that full-body scans without symptoms save lives. Zero. Each scan delivers 10 to 20 millisieverts of radiation. That's equal to about 500 chest x-rays. A 2023 modeling study published in JAMA Internal Medicine shows that the rise in CT scans across the United States may now be responsible for up to 5% of all cancers. That puts them on par with alcohol as a cancer-causing factor. Think about that again. 1 out of every 20 cancers could be caused by a scan that was supposed to prevent disease. That's not just counterproductive. That's terrifying. The scan can detect harmless nodules, calcifications, or cysts that are simply part of aging. But the moment they're seen, a red flag goes up. More scans follow, then biopsies, then panic. Remember Marcus from our shock opening? Let me tell you his full story now. Marcus was an active 80-year-old. He taught martial arts to younger seniors. He jogged every morning, felt fantastic. One day, he got a call from a private clinic. "We have a senior elite checkup package," they said. "Full body scan," they said. "Let's check everything," they said. Marcus thought, why not? Prevention is good. The scan was done. The results came in. The report read, 3 millimeter nodule detected in the right lung. 3 millimeters, the size of a match head. But the system kicked into gear, referred to oncology, PET scan done. "Let's do a biopsy to be sure," they said. Marcus panicked. Is it cancer? He wondered. Couldn't sleep at night. The needle biopsy was done. Result, benign, not cancer, harmless. But during the biopsy, part of his lung collapsed. They called it a pneumothorax. Emergency hospitalization. A tube was inserted into his chest. 2 months in the hospital and recovering at home. He can't jog anymore. Can't teach martial arts anymore. Suffers from shortness of breath. And all of this for something that could have been left alone. A 3 millimeter harmless nodule. The American College of Radiology is now clear. Full-body CT scans should never be used for general screening in asymptomatic adults. No proven benefit, significant potential for harm. If there are symptoms, unexplained weight loss, coughing up blood, visible swelling, then targeted imaging makes sense. But scanning the whole body with no focus is like searching for treasure with a landmine detector. You might find something, but the damage could be worse than what you were trying to avoid. A safer, smarter approach is to listen to your body. If you feel well, maintain regular checkups with your primary doctor. Only do tests that are clearly indicated. Your time, your energy, and your health are too valuable to waste on fear-driven screening that could leave you worse off than when you started. Think of your body like a house. If you tear down the entire house every year and rebuild it, eventually the foundation cracks, the walls weaken, the roof leaks. Sometimes the best maintenance is to avoid unnecessary intervention and only carefully repair what truly needs attention when the time comes. My friends, there you have it. The 5 screenings to avoid after 70: bone density, brain MRI, cardiac stress test, colonoscopy, full-body CT. Modern medicine is powerful, but it's not perfect. Sometimes, less is more. Always ask, what happens next? If this test finds something, if the answer is unclear, or if the risks outweigh the rewards, it might be time to pause. And remember, real prevention starts with lifestyle. Stay active, eat well, sleep deeply, and choose your screenings wisely. This information is for educational purposes only. Always consult your doctor before making any health decisions. And now, I challenge you. Yes, you watching this right now. 30-day Smart Health Challenge at your next doctor visit. Ask, why are we doing this test? Before any procedure, ask, what are the risks and benefits? Daily, 30 minutes of walking, healthy eating, 7 to 8 hours of sleep for 30 days. No excuses. On day 1, take a note. How's your overall health? How's your energy? On day 30, take another note. See the difference. Share your results in the comments. Show people smart health management. Inspire someone. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button, leave a comment, share it with your friends. What's your experience? Have you ever had an unnecessary test? Write to us in the comments.